Yo, hey guys, what's up? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another MLB DFS Slurve video here on YouTube here at No Huddle Fantasy Sports. Today is Thursday, August 27, 2020. We're talking baseball-specific DFS for the main slate tonight. And as always, thank you guys so much for finding your way to this channel, finding your way to this video. You're here because you like DFS baseball. If you found your way here and you don't like baseball, well, I think you're lost. But hey, give this video a like anyway. But no, seriously, if you guys are enjoying these videos, we put them out every single day. Please give this video a like. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We've been doing absolutely incredible over the last week or so, really all baseball season. So be a part of that community. Publish content every single day here on YouTube at No Huddle Fantasy Sports, at No Huddle FS on Twitter, making sure we're getting our DFS lineup set, and we got NFL coming out soon. So again, be a part of that community. I will say I'm aiming for 500 subscribers. We are almost halfway there. So I don't expect that to happen anytime soon, but when it does, I'll do a giveaway. We'll get creative. We'll do something cool here. So I do really appreciate all you guys. We are growing organically and slow. It's a grind, but it's pretty awesome to do this and to actually see people, actually benefiting from this. So thank you guys so much. Wasting too much time there. But we are talking MLB specific baseball for tonight. DFS main slate. It is a smaller slate. 6 total games on FanDuel. We are jumping into the FanDuel app as always here. If you're playing on DraftKings, I believe you have 7 total games. So a much smaller slate compared to the last couple of nights. The other thing I want to note here is 6:30 is when the games start. You have 4 games here listed on FanDuel starting before 7 o'clock. So that's a bit unique. Keep in mind that, as you get closer towards that lock, it's much earlier than normal. So I don't want you guys to get screwed there. And I know if you're playing fantasy baseball, DFS, basketball, over the last couple of days, it's been pretty challenging. There's a lot of things going on, right? You had a lot of postponements yesterday. If you played basketball, all of the slate got postponed. If you were playing baseball, you had several games get postponed. Some of those games were postponed as the slate after lock and the slate started happening. That is frustrating. I understand. I completely understand. You put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. You watch videos like this. I drag on for a half hour telling you who to play, and then games get canceled. A lot of my picks last night were resulted in not being able to be played. It is very frustrating. I completely understand, as I mentioned. But there are bigger things going on in the world right now. I'm not here to preach about it, but I don't want to take away from that. I appreciate that. I understand. This is only baseball. This is only a sport. There is money involved, and it is frustrating. So the moral of the story here is things are happening right now, and you have to be aware of them. You should be aware of them. But if you're trying to play DFS, you're going to have to tonight. I don't see anything yet. It looks like every game is scheduled to play. I don't see anything scheduled to be postponed. I can't speak to any other sport right now, but you have to be aware because as of last night, we had games being postponed at 9 o'clock that were scheduled to start at 9:30. That's very frustrating. I get it. I don't want to keep repeating myself here, but you have to be on your toes here. You have to be ready. If you have 4 games starting at 6:37, at 6:35, you need to make sure those games are happening. At 7 o'clock, you need to make sure the 7-10 games are happening. That's the only way you're going to be successful or put yourself in a position to be successful tonight. You would hope if they're going to postpone stuff again tonight, MLB just takes a stance and postpones everything. That would be much appreciated by, I think, anyone that's putting money up to either bet or play DFS or fantasy baseball, whatever it is. We'll have to see. I'll try to pay attention to it as we get closer. But you guys, it's just as important as weather today to pay attention to actually if the games are happening. So that being said, last night we had 3 or 4 games get postponed. It actually turned out very well. We had a very successful night at No Huddle Fantasy Sports. All of our picks were great. Outside of Chris Davis, if you talk about pitching, we had Sonny Gray and DeGrom, 1 and 2. Sonny Gray, obviously, couldn't play him. So you had DeGrom, you moved to the next pick we had, which is Lamet. Couldn't play him, you moved to the next pick, which is John Gray. So you had John Gray and DeGrom. On DraftKings was excellent. If you played them on FanDuel, it was excellent. That's where I mostly play. Our picks of Miggy Cabrera, Detroit stack, great. The Colorado stack, great. Oakland sucked. But in general, we did very well. I talked about the New York Mets outfielders. Both those guys hit home runs. It was a great slate in the end, but for me, I moved a lot to Colorado, obviously. I had some exposure to some Dodgers bats, couldn't play them. Everything kind of moved to Colorado, and it turned out really well. So, moral of the story there is, A, make sure you're watching and subscribe to this channel because we're giving out hot picks, man. But B, you have to be on your toes. There's a lot of people that got screwed last night, not trying to take advantage of them. But if you can put yourself in a better position by not playing players from teams that are postponed, and you can make those last-minute adjustments and edits, you can succeed at DFS. That's one of the easiest things to do is pay attention to weather, pay attention to bad spots that are not player-specific. So not wasting time. Sorry, it's all very, very important, but dragged on a little bit there. Make sure you pay attention tonight. I don't, again, see anything happening as of now. I will say for weather, Boston at Toronto. First, I was like, man, Toronto, why is there bad weather in Toronto? They have a freaking roof, but they're playing obviously in Buffalo. There is some decent weather to pay attention to in Toronto. Make sure you pay attention to that. It kind of sucks because both those pitchers are very stackable against, and I was interested in that. So make sure you pay attention not only to games being postponed, but in general the weather tonight in that game. All that being said, I'm going to quickly go through this slate. I'm not very interested. Overall, it is a slate that kind of sucks. There's only one elite pitcher, that's Scherzer. Outside of that, everything else with the postponements and things, and it's just a risky slate in general. I will be playing a little bit. I love DFS baseball. I give you guys my picks, my videos, all this stuff. I play it every single day, but tonight compared to previous nights is going to be extremely light from that sense. That being said, what are we going to do here? Well, at pitcher, everybody's going to go Scherzer, right? It's $10,600 for him. You can play DFS and play chalk and get screwed. That's kind of how it works. You have to understand DFS baseball is the most variance, or has the most variance of all sports, meaning if you play heavily chalky guys, unless you're absolutely certain, which nobody is, it's baseball again, there's variance. You're not going to win playing what everyone else is playing. You have to be so perfect in your other picks. It's not even worth it. So for tonight, I'm playing 5 lineups. This is honestly what's going to happen. I'm going to play one Scherzer lineup. $10,600. The reasoning here is he hasn't been great, and I'm not chalking up to unlucky or anything like that. He's been getting hit hard by lefties this season. He's been giving up, you can see here, 9 runs over the last 2 games against Baltimore and Miami. It's not the same Scherzer, at least right now. This dude can put up 60 points tonight. I'm not going to lie. He will probably do that, and we'll get screwed. But hey, for me, we're playing DFS here. We're trying to take advantage of knowing everyone's going to go there. So where am I going to go? I'm going to have 4 lineups of Chris Bassett of my 5. He's pitched very well this season. He's a good pitcher for Oakland. You can see just the stats in general, 2-1, 2.97 ERA. The downside here, he doesn't strike a lot of guys out. He's projected 5.5 Ks on the night. He is pitching on the road. That is a little bit of a bummer. But last I checked, they're like 180 or 190 favorites. That's Oakland. So he's in a good spot to get a W. And Texas has been brutal, absolutely brutal versus right-handed pitching. I'll read you their numbers here very quickly. 59 WRC+, 270 WOBA, and what do we have for an ISO? They're hitting 122 in terms of ISO. Those are all second worst in baseball. 29 out of 30 teams. 3 major categories for batting for their lineup. And you think Gallows and Odors, they have some decent lefties in that lineup, but man, they suck versus lefties, versus righties. So Chris Bassett is a right-hander, a decent right-hander. I think he's in a good spot. He's only $7,800. You can basically fit whatever bats you want. The downside, as I mentioned, pitching on the road, but he is in Oakland is a favorite on the road, so that's good. Texas strikes out at a 23% clip. That's about 15-16 overall in baseball. So match that with his low 22% strikeout rate. You're not going to get a lot of strikeouts here. That's just the bottom line. But he pitches well. He controls the game. Hopefully we'll only give up a couple runs. 5.5 Ks, as I mentioned. If we get to 6, that's better. Should be in line for a quality start. Should be in line for a W. I like Chris Bassett, and I like literally no one else. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not playing anyone else on this slate. Boston, Toronto, you could play Ryu, but again, there's some weather concerns there. I don't like to take pitchers from that. And in terms of Scherzer, last thing I'll say about him is Philadelphia. You're talking Harper, Didi Gregorius. You have some good bats, left-handed power bats. It's where Scherzer has shown some struggles so far this year. He's still Max Scherzer, I'm not going to lie to you. But they are a decent team. I think a top 5, if not top 10, if not top 5 team, Philadelphia versus right-handers. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But that's how I'm going to roll. In terms of stacks, the first 2 teams I want to start with, I like stacking both Baltimore and Tampa Bay. It's going to be unusual here. They're cheap, but it doesn't really matter because we're going with a cheap pitcher. Baltimore facing a left-hander here, so you can go with their right-handed bats. They're facing, what's his name? Sorry if it loads. Yarbrough. Left-hander, not having a great season. 4 earned a couple times, 5 earned another time. I looked at his stats. He struggles versus righties. It's pretty evident. But if you stick with him, or if you're stacking against him, I think it's a good idea here. You can go with right-handed bats. Looking at their lineup specifically, you go with like Alberto. I already have Nunez listed. Santander's been absolutely brilliant for them lately. He's a switch hitter. And Severino, I believe a catcher for them, is in a good spot too. So you can go a couple of different ways here. It's a light slate, like I said. Where's Severino? But I do like the right-handers. Oh, he might be injured, so pay attention to that. He wasn't in the lineup yesterday. But again, I like Baltimore generally as a stack, a road stack here. And then on the flip side, I like attacking Means, the Baltimore pitcher. So he is another lefty. Last thing I'll mention here really quickly, Baltimore is actually a top 10 team in most stats versus left-handed pitching. So that's actually pretty surprising for their team. They have literally no names on that team. Santander's been excellent, as I mentioned. So you're getting a good spot there for them. And they've been surprisingly underrated versus left-handed pitching. But on the flip side is another top 10 team, sometimes top 5, depending on what you look at, is the Tampa Bay Rays here. They hit left-handed pitching also very well. And it's going to be tough because I like a lot of their lefties just in general. But you have at second base, probably leading off is Brose, $2,500, good price. Again, you don't have to worry about pricing here. Diaz, for third base, you can go Diaz, a good right-handed bat for them. Brandon Lowe, he has been hitting, so it's another second baseman for them. Hitting lefties, actually. He is a lefty. Just be careful with that play. I don't always like that, left on left. Willie Adams, shortstop. He's probably going to be hitting higher in the order versus a left-hander. Jose Martinez, he's been good for them. I love Austin Meadows. I think you can just play him in general, depending on where he's batting in the order, but he is a lefty. A lot of different ways you can go with Tampa Bay. The bottom line here, I do like Tampa Bay. I do like Baltimore, like a complete game stack there. That's really it. That's the 2 guys I want to attack. If the weather turns out to be really nice in the Boston game, Boston at Toronto, I like both stacks there. You can game stack that game also. That's really it in terms of stacks. I want to talk some one-off bats. One guy I want to play, obviously, versus a left-hander is Nelly Cruz. Minnesota, as generally as a stack, has not been hitting lefties well, although Cruz kills lefties. It's a bit surprising. It could turn around any day now, but Nelly Cruz, got to play him. Again, make sure they're going to play, but JD Martinez versus a lefty, those 2 guys, I love just stacking those 2 guys together, one-off bats versus left-handed pitching. Just always seems to work out. I do like, for an expensive bat, Soto versus a right-handed pitcher. Not much information on him. Howard, Washington projected a lot of runs tonight, 5.13. You can stack them if you want. I think that's definitely a doable stack if you want to go that way with Washington. You can see here, you can go any which way tonight, and that's why I don't want to spend too much time here. Oakland has a good opportunity tonight. They're really high in terms of runs projection. Matt Olson, good spot for him, as always, left on right. Got to like that. Again, if you're going to get any people from that game, but watch the weather. I do like, where is he? $2,500 should be Travis Shaw. I'm missing him. Yeah, Travis Shaw in a good spot. Flip side too. Not really the flip side, but Marwin Gonzalez is in a good spot. He actually has decent numbers versus Boyd. Has seen him a good bit. I do like him. Sano, another first baseman. So not quite a complete stack of that Minnesota game, but I do like those 3 particular bats. That should be it. I mean, you can play around tonight. I don't think you have to go crazy. I don't really like the slate in general. I do hope these videos are helpful for you guys. Sorry for dragging it along, but keep in mind, there's bigger things going on. You just need to make sure if you're going to put money up in anything, whether it's betting, DFS, fantasy, sports, make sure your guys are going to be in lineups. Make sure your games aren't postponed. So stay tuned. Make sure you check everything before lock, 6:30. Be ready tonight. Outside of that, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I do really appreciate that. Hope everybody is doing well in these troubling times. Outside of that, good luck tonight, and I'll catch you in the next video.